When you look up still life paintings, there is one subject that comes up over and over and over again. One subject that has become so ubiquitous when it comes to still life paintings that it's almost ingrained into our culture. And that is fruit.
Painting fruit. There's nothing more fun than painting fruit. This is more fun than anything.
But why is painting fruit this big popular thing? It's something that historically, in so many old paintings, we see it, but even in newer paintings, there's a lot of artists painting fruit. So why is that the case? Why do artists paint fruit? And so I have a few theories here. First of all, fruit is something that's just really accessible for everyone. I mean, in places like Greece and even in some parts of Italy, you can see fruit just growing on the trees lining the streets. And if you're in art school and your professor wants you to paint an apple, you can just go and grab one from the cafeteria. Another theory I have is that fruit is very colorful, it comes in many different shapes and sizes, so you can easily practice painting different colors, color theory, painting different shapes, and painting different interesting organic shapes by painting fruit. And then also going off the first theory, fruit is such a non-controversial thing to paint. And it's also easily accessible, so everybody knows what a fruit looks like. It can appeal to everyone, you see a pretty painting of an apple, that's not going to offend anyone. And also, everybody knows what an apple looks like, so it's it instantly reads to everybody. Everybody can instantly read that as an apple. Boom, they know what you're painting. You don't have to explain it to anyone. Lastly, my last theory here is that every piece of fruit is different. And so even if two people are both painting an apple and they're both doing like a perfect realistic rendition of it, those are still going to be two unique paintings. And that's really, that's really interesting compared to like if, we're both painting something that always looks the same, something that's made in a factory. So those are my theories. Now, time to look on the internet and see how correct they are. So I did some research and it turns out I'm like kind of right, like half right. So quite a few people, obviously, on the internet have already asked this question, and on websites like Reddit and Quora, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and a lot of artists have already answered and said something along the lines that they paint fruit because it is aesthetically pleasing and they're easily accessible subjects and painting them is good practice. So all things that I was saying before, but it turns out historically, if you look at history, there is a lot more to it. So turns out that the Greeks and Romans painted fruits and fruit bowls and other kinds of food to show their wealth and agricultural success. Egyptians even painted food, including fruit, on the walls of pyramids because they believed that it would nourish people in the afterlife. But during the Renaissance, artists also painted fruit to subtly depict religious themes. You see, people were losing interest in those strictly religious-themed paintings, and people were more interested in science during the Renaissance. So artists were leaning away from painting the religious scenes, but they still wanted to reference religion in other, more subtle ways. Also, different fruits represented different ideas in these paintings. Grapes represented the blood of Christ, because, wine. In Christianity, apples are a reference to, the whole Garden of Eden thing. And in Greek mythology, there's also the story of the golden apple, so that's what, apples represented. Pears represent love and divine fertility in Christian art. Meanwhile, in Homer's The Odyssey, pears were a sign of abundance and a gift from the gods. In Christianity, cherries were the symbolic fruit of paradise, and strawberries were also seen as a fruit of paradise, as well as a forbidden fruit. Strawberries are also my personal favorite fruit, so I don't know what that says about me, but And pomegranates can be seen as a reference to the Greek goddess Persephone. And in Christianity, they symbolize Christ's suffering, resurrection, and everlasting life. Certain fruits also have meanings that are not attached to religion at all, like pineapples symbolized wealth, since they cost a lot of money to be shipped to Europe. Lemons and oranges were similarly expensive to grow, so they also symbolized wealth. And peaches were a symbol of immortality and longevity, especially in Chinese art. To explore this topic further of painting fruit and see if I found some additional meaning in it, to see if I kind of identified with it being good practice or an accessible thing to paint, further backing up my initial theories, or to see if I found any deeper meaning in painting these fruits, I decided to go about painting some fruits myself and see if I found some additional meaning there. But I decided to kind of take the original thought I had behind painting fruit, the original thought of it being kind of this meaningless, basic thing to paint. I decided to kind of take that and turn it on its head a little bit. So I decided to do some fruit paintings that, just like those paintings from the Renaissance era, look like they're just paintings of pretty fruit, but they have a bit of a deeper meaning, kind of, a little bit. You see, I decided to add a collage behind each little painting with news clippings and book pages, and I purposely chose news articles that cover very politicized topics, from COVID-19 to LGBTQ issues. I kind of want to juxtapose painting something that people view as very non-controversial with something very controversial behind it, because people really often search for art that's non-controversial, and usually fruit is a part of that, and a lot of people just search for these aesthetically pleasing paintings of fruit. However, while beautiful art like paintings of fruit might seem to have like no political meaning behind it, really all art has some political meaning behind it. Because no matter what, there are still politics at play that motivate each artist and that give each artist the tools and the privilege that they have to create things. And also, while fruit may generally be an accessible and non-controversial thing, there are also politics that are at play when it comes to how fruit is grown and harvested, you know. For example, climate change has the power to impact agriculture. So, you know, over the past few months, I've been working on these paintings, though, and something kind of interesting happened. I noticed as I got further and deeper into painting more and more, you know, fruits combined with these kind of political collages, I noticed there are quite a few different fruits that have now become political symbols, which is really, really, really weird and interesting and kind of cool. I mean, think about the watermelon. That is now a symbol of Palestinian liberation. And most recently, coconuts. All of the coconut memes in support of Kamala Harris. And so I had to make the last fruit that I painted a coconut, of course, because I did not fall out of a coconut tree. I've been loving all the memes. I love it. I love it so much. What a time to be alive this is. What a time to be alive. I mean, it's so crazy because you could literally describe this year's American election using fruits. Are you voting for the orange or the coconut? I'm coconut all the way, baby. Coconut all the way. But anyway, I hope you're not voting for the orange man, and this has been really interesting. It's been such an interesting exploration. And I really, through creating this video and writing this script and painting these fruits, I've learned a lot of fun stuff. I have learned a lot about painting fruits and the history behind it, and now how fruits have become new symbols for things. It's really interesting, and I really do love that type of symbolism. I love that to some people, like, this painting might just be a painting of coconuts, but to other people who can look deeper and read into it and find that deeper meaning, it has that deeper political meaning. But it's not going to offend somebody who doesn't know the deeper political meaning. And I think that's really interesting and really kind of cool, and I love it. I love it. It's really cool. But anyway, so here are all of my finished fruit paintings. I am really proud of how they came out. All 10 of them will be up on my website soon. I'm gonna make prints and stickers of them, and if you sign up for my newsletter in the description, you will be the first to know if you sign up for my email list. And yeah, and also I posted a lot of the process of painting these fruits on my Instagram, so if you enjoyed this video, maybe follow me on there, maybe you'll enjoy that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love if you subscribed, and I hope you have an absolutely incredible day. Yeah, love you.